Hey folks, that was Sojourn to Sikkim. It is a friend of mine's YouTube channel. Link is in the description. Axion Ghost. Thanks for that new intro and letting me use it. Dang, bolt gun. Dang, finally can't get one. Okay, I don't know what you mean. Can you hear me or no? Don't know if maybe you can't hear me. Okay. Yep. Awesome. Jermaine's here. Nice sound machine. Awesome. Just waiting to see if somebody says that they can hear my voice. That's one thing that I want to make sure is happening. So today's talk, you should be able to hear it actually. Today's talk is going to be very simple, very easy. Going to give you my opinion on something that a lot of people try to figure out, and my 2 cents on it, and what I mean when I say my 2 cents on it. As dissecting conspiracy and propaganda, and like the last show I did, are they mutually exclusive? That's kind of an important question, and the question is, I'm going to give you an example. I know I've done this in the past, but a conspiracy theory is something that you have before facts. You know, you may theorize it. Cops do it all the time. Intelligence people have to operate on that level too. You hear something, it doesn't make it true. So, here's how I'll put it to you. A conspiracy theory is where you start from. Once facts are introduced and somebody who's looking at it look for the facts, then it starts becoming a fact, which means it's an actual conspiracy. Hey, Horace McPorris, how you doing? So I got Jermaine, Bolt Gun, and Horace in the chat. You guys are all welcome to ask questions, this, that, and the other. Let's make it interactive, more interesting. Now, I'll give you a good example of somebody that will follow the leads and go where it leads. And remember, conspiracy theory was started under when President JFK was killed. They said everybody that said there was more than one shooter, Lee Harvey Oswald, was incorrect, this, that, and the other. Well, you have a gentleman who I know, and he's a good man. And I'll tell you, I want to direct you all to go look these people up. Also buy their books. Several of them have books. One of them is Robert Morningstar, an awesome dude. I can't say enough good things about him. He wrote a book that's probably the definitive work on the JFK assassination. And there's others out there, but I know this man, and I'm asking you, check out his book, and I think you'll agree with me. So he uncovers after they've already had the Warren Commission, debunking all these other theories and myths. But you get somebody who actually will track down the facts, and eventually those facts prove that there was a conspiracy, yes, to cover up. I'll let you read his thoughts on it. I'm just giving you an example of how much they try to cover things up. It doesn't always work, okay? And it becomes propaganda, okay? So you're seeing it right now. I'll give you another example. Under the president we're sitting under now. The last one nobody ever vetted. This guy's the most vetted guy that's ever been a president. Everybody's gone up his ass with a microscope. And so then you think about that and you're like, wow, that's right. You look back on it. And you're like, we just accepted everything that he said because that's what the media pushed. See, the internet wasn't as big as it is now, and that's why they're going after content creators. And another podcaster, if you want to keep in track of what's going on with the Trump investigation and get some real facts, Dan Bongino. That's real time. Okay. So you're seeing how conspiracies, the theory, and the facts, they can still be a conspiracy even if they're pushing propaganda, because why are they doing that? So you see, it's not mutually exclusive. You could point out and say that it's my opinion that these people tracked down facts. Well, it's an educated opinion, and I'm just telling you what I think, and that's all you get. You're getting my honest opinion. It's up to, look, none of you are handcuffed. You don't have to stay on my channel. I don't work that way. I work the way where I'll provide the information and you look it up. You find out the facts for yourself. You go see things. Now, getting back into conspiracy and propaganda. With propaganda, I could start talking about, Frankfurt School. I could start going into the Atlanticist. I could start going into all these different groups, the Illuminati, whatever, right? And there's every conspiracy. I've said this before. You guys need to hear it again. Every conspiracy theory starts with a grain of truth. It's time to uncover that grain, and then you find from there that little bit of truth that they're trying to hide. That's the key. Now, when you see the media, which is totally co-opted, somebody who's documented a lot of this is Jay Dyer and also The Boiler Room. It's a radio show I go to every Thursday. I'm there. Same name, Kaisers Kastle. And Jermaine's exactly right. Every day is a part of a puzzle. It becomes a picture of the foolish games, persons, banks, and so on. He's exactly correct on this. And it is a puzzle, but you have to try to look at it from the 30,000 foot level. If you get real close to the puzzle, you'll see all the fine line detail. But you also have to step away and look back and see how dots, circles, whatever you want to call it, lines connect. That's the way to actually logically analyze anything. The media at one time was free. I was talking to somebody last night about the FBI, and I made it very clear. The FBI went downhill when, and I've said this before on my podcast, ATF, dirty water, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, used to be with Treasury. After 9/11, they put them into DOJ. That's what they did, folks. It's a whole separate agency. The DOJ was originally established to oversee the FBI. Notice how the FBI is pretty much integrated in bed with everyone. I mean, even local and state. So when you have something that's an intelligence agency, which the FBI has part of that, the CIA by its mandate, and the NSA, unfortunately the NSA forgot that, we're not allowed to turn their cameras and their mics inward inside continental U.S. because they knew that would destabilize our country. And guess what? We had 8 years of them doing it. Probably more than that. When Bush first created them and brought ATF over, like I said, dirty water, most abuses of all federal agencies get put into DOJ, and the most politicized agency because of their gun stance and the way they're used by every Democratic organization to take guns. Yeah, I'm saying it right. And that's their propaganda. So you have that kind of dirty water mix in, and all of a sudden what happens? Wow, you're surprised it became politicized. And I've heard Dan Bongino say the rank and file, and yes, I agree with him on certain points, but on other points, the rank and file, there were some that knew. And nobody said anything. See how everything's not mutually exclusive? You see how a conspiracy, we're talking an actual conspiracy. We're not talking theory. Like I said, it's when the facts come out. It becomes a conspiracy. And how they'll use propaganda to cover up their conspiracy in the government. Hey, let me tell you something. You're seeing it right now in the courts with people who had nothing to do with Russian collusion, and even McCabe on his little 60-minute soundbite admitted that it was an attempt to do a soft coup on Donald Trump. He admitted it like a fool, like a moron. And what you're going to see is there probably going to be some, everybody keeps wanting to say on the liberal side that it's some conspiracy theory that there's all these sealed indictments. No, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a sealed indictment because they want to roll up all the players. And then that same person was saying, oh, well, it's like all these pedophile arrests. Yeah, because they're only being put on by the local news. You're exactly right. I said that earlier. CIA developed the phrase conspiracy theory for the JFK assassination in particular because of their involvement. Sound familiar, folks? Sound familiar now. The FBI and the media, who's in bed with them, and the CIA, are saying everything's a conspiracy theory, but we're seeing it open up. And Arminius is right. All in the high positions are a part of the bad games. And some are a part of the good. And right now, the good's on the move, but the bad's still embedded. That's why they call it the deep state, the swamp. We got to drain the swamp, right? See how this works? So I would suggest people to also check out Alternate Current Radio. Hesher, Spohr, Patrick Henningsen. Jay Dyer's on there sometimes. He has his own channel too. It's a YouTube channel, but Alternate Current Radio is its own separate entity. And it's it's funny, it's good, it's what I wish my show could be. I try to make humor, but the only bullets I carry now are bullets of humor, and I'm trying to hit your funny bone, baby. Anyways, I did this podcast to try to get out my voice. That's it. I feel like you guys come here, we have our sit-down chats. You're taking a seat on my nice orange couch. It's big enough for everybody in this thing. I always ask you to like, comment, and share. It helps because I'm only one man and only have reached to X amount of people. You guys have reached to other people. So spread it far and wide. Same with Jaffe when I'm on with him. WPRPN, World Pirate Radio Podcast Network. We do the midweek muck around, which is where we go into news and try to have some humor. And that's on Wednesdays. Well, Tuesdays, it's odd because he's in Korea. It's Tuesdays for us at about 11-ish. And Wednesdays for him, I think it's like 12 noon in, in Korea. But it's a Wednesday. And then Fridays, he'll usually do an expanded show with guests. And sometimes I'm on there, sometimes I'm not. This weekend I got something to do. I got places to go. Visit some brothers I haven't seen in a long time. And so I won't be here Friday. I won't be doing another show. I wanted to make sure to give you a Valentine's Day show. You men out there, like I always say, go find yourself a lover. Find yourself a wife. Make some children. Create a life. Now, getting back to the point of that was sort of a middle thing. Why do you think propaganda spreads? It's because nobody stands. And Jermaine just said it right now. It popped up as I said it. What is to do? Stand up and do the things to help people that you trust. Wake up others to think. Yes, exactly. That's exactly where I was going, Jermaine. You're like well, we've known each other so long. Of course we think alike. But anyways, going on from there, you have to stop propaganda by talking. I'm not a free speech absolutist, and I'll tell you why I'm not. Because I've seen the games that are done. I'll give you a prime example. These pedophiles. Here's just one example. It's the only one I'm going to use, but it's a very clear one. They're trying to be legitimized by getting into the gay and lesbian and transgender thing. They now have a little P on their thing for pedophiles, right? Who else is into pedophilia? The government, right? Look, the only issue I've ever had with homosexuals is clearly a military one. I really don't care what people do in their bedroom. It's the same thing I have with people who commit adultery. It opens you up to blackmail. Unless you're prepared to know that everybody knows you're heing and sheing as a guy and a girl, if you're heterosexual, or you're taking it up the butt, or you're licking the same thing you got. Unless you're prepared for everybody to know that, you're fully able to be blackmailed. That's a fact. And that makes you untrustworthy. And as Jermaine said, you do the things to help the people you trust. And if you can't be trusted, and that includes me, don't think I stand anywhere different. This is a serious thing. But pedophiles, they shouldn't have free speech. And I'll tell you why. Because they rob children of their innocence. And they destroy lives. And that is something a child gets one time to grow and grow correctly. And the biggest, and when I say this, I'm not talking just on a religious level. I'm talking, remember, sin is to miss the mark. The basic thing that I'm talking about with you. And if you destroy another human being and cause them to miss their mark, then indeed that is the worst sin, and the gods and God will look down upon you with shame as you should feel. And on this planet, I know this one thing, being a former cop, the one thing that you cannot re-educate somebody, or the highest recidivism of doing what they did to go to prison, is pedophilia. It's an addiction. It's a sickness. When a man can look at a child and say, oh, look how beautiful. Now, I understand it if it's your kid. You know, I get that. Your son looks handsome. Your daughter looks beautiful. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in a sexual manner, that's an issue. That's a problem. And since it can't be rehabilitated, I don't know why we don't give them a death penalty. And I'm being very frank. I'm being very honest. Because that is a sickness for pedophiles that is going to ruin how many lives in their lifetime. That's just my opinion. But I think I'm correct on it. Here's an interesting thing, and I know exactly where he's going with this, Jermaine. In my view, it's a slow move, but very hard in the end. We have to kick them out of their game and change it into clear, into the sunlight, rise and shine. Welcome to the sun. You're exactly right. That very kind of blackmail, this is Bolt Gun. That very kind of blackmail is what's wrong with our entire government. And you're exactly right, Bolt Gun. Yep. Jermaine's asking, when it's someone touched children, the demon must go back to his hell. We give them a ticket. Absolutely right. Yep. See, and that's the thing. Too many people don't speak up about these things. So I'm just wanting to show you, but they're propagandizing and legitimizing pedophiles now. See the new propaganda game. And it's because the government and the people in power are involved in this crap. You could say it's a conspiracy theory, but here's the facts. The Franklin scandal. You guys look this up. You look up Barney Frank when his boyfriend was running the brothel out of his own apartment. And guess what? They weren't just young men that were of age, 18-year-olds. They had underage kids. And Horace, you're exactly right. Scary stuff. But this is the thing that people need to think on. I mean, there's a whole lot of men out there. And I know they're trying to negate men. Trying to make us irrelevant. Another part of the propaganda. With third wave feminism. Camille Paglia. I listen to her. She's a very interesting person. If you guys want to ever read her books and stuff, you'll see she's a feminist, and that's fine. She's also homosexual. Okay, fine. She's open about that crap. But the thing is she sees it through a man's eyes. So she was probably wired to be that way. And she even says third wave feminists and even some parts of second wave feminism was screwed up. And this is a woman that's been doing it since the early 60s. When you see bullshit being pushed, it is propaganda. When people are pushing it that have been proven liars. How many times has CNN been caught in lies? All of the mainstream. Why do you think they're taking people down? Why do you think they're suppressing people from being able to find my page or your page or any of your guys' page in the YouTube searches? It'll go to CNN. Over in Germany, it'll go over to, let's say, it wouldn't be Signal. It'd be, why am I, Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle. If you're in England, it'll go to BBC. Canada, I can't remember what they got. Canada Broadcasting Service, I think, CBS. But you'll see CNN, NBC, CBS. You'll see, this is in America, ABC, and even Fox. Sometimes Fox will get involved with some of this propaganda. The mainstream media is totally co-opted. just like our government, like I said, there's some issues, and Shuffy ain't got no tissues. So that's pretty much my spill on how propaganda, and we've just discovered by the question I asked, are they mutually conspiracy and propaganda? Notice I didn't say conspiracy theory. I gave just an excerpt on how conspiracy theory becomes a conspiracy. When two or more people get together and act towards doing something. That's a conspiracy, folks. And propaganda being used to either cover it up and we've all started to unmask things. Yes, that's right. Jermaine said, we will see them without the mask like the Roman Pope. Check the meeting in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on globally. I could touch a little bit on that. Italy looks like it's going to have a right-wing government. Brazil's doing excellent under Bolsonaro. I'm hoping Germany this next time, from what I'm seeing some positive stuff to where it looks like the Christian Democratic Union is going to be pretty much defunct and not running things anymore. And there's hope that some of the right-wing organizations will all join into one big happy family. And that'll be good for Europe. You guys can get a handle on your immigration, maybe. It may be too late. It's happened before in history. Remember the Crusades, and also remember the invasions that started the Crusades. So when people want to blame it one way, because remember, you're white, obviously you're guilty. You know, that's just what they're pushing. And you're a man, oh my God. You're treacherous, you're a hater. And you will see that the pushback is real. Even the women, you know, they're seeing it. And remember, women, as Camille Paglia says, forget at what males bring to the party. Protection, love, caring, help in raising the children. But see, right now, they're just spoiled little kids. Yep. But remember, Jermaine, with his comment, we watch and see the kings and glory goodbye. And say the kings and glory goodbye. You also have to remember that there's that old saying in German, kings tremble under men who were boyhood friends. Remember that. It's always been that way, brother. And you'll never make a better friend than the man that's next to you in combat, to your left and to your right. You'll never have a tighter bond, a tighter friendship. Even, and I've said this before, even familial brothers, sometimes you won't. Well, with that being said, I'm going to play the last song. Like I said, the first one for my intro was Sojourn to Sikkim by Axion's Ghost. My second one for my outro is my favorite one, and you guys have all heard it before. So it's not going to make an issue to you probably. But let's see if it'll pop up or if I'm going to have to do something. And I'm looking. Inside Enemy Headquarters.
you.